All right, live here for episode 5 of the Grandsire podcast. We know just how creative the name is. Joined here today by my first fighter on the show. It is, of course, Emrod himself, Mike Rodriguez. What's going on, sir? How are you?
Not much, man. Just chilling. Just got finished streaming.
Right, you just finished streaming. Now you get to sit down and stream a little bit differently. So we got you occupied today. Man, but your setup looks nice, though. We see the mic, we see the chair. Like, setup looks pretty good.
Thank you.
I mean, how did it take to build that up? Did you start right away when you started streaming, to look nice, or did you take some time to kind of create that?
No, piece by piece. Like after every fight, every time I did something like privates or whatever, I just like piece by piece. I first had to get a PC. I got the PC, and then I had to get the camera and the mic and all that stuff. I'm still building it. It's like, but it's leaps and bounds to what it was before. It was terrible before. Terrible.
For sure. Yeah. I know what you mean. When I started just like something simple, like doing the interviews, I was using like the webcam that was built into the computer. The light was whatever was on in the room. And if you look, fighters would be driving. They would look better than I do. And I'm supposed to have the setup. So it would look, it's funny when you look back at how you look like shit before, basically. And then you look now and it's like, wow, you see the improvements.
Yeah. And you just got to attack it piece by piece. Like don't go all out the gate and be like, oh, dump all this money. Like, it's just not the way. Like, hit it by piece. The biggest things you want to have good is sound and visual. And that's the same thing. I'm still working on that now. But, those are the two things that you want to have that you should be prioritizing as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you look like myself, for example, you start slowly, like get the new webcam. Then eventually you start getting a mic that sounds a little bit better. Now you start having a mic with the boom arm and some lights here to start looking a little bit better. And then over time, you start to look good.
Yep, exactly.
But the one thing you have over me, though, is the chair. Like I'm seeing you got the nice little the gamer chair. And
I'm trying to get I want to get a new one. I hate the way this one's because I don't know if my audience can hear it, but like when I'm doing certain things, like for instance, when I use these, like you hear the click. It bugs the hell out of me. Even when I'm not streaming, if I'm just sitting here hanging out and I just like click it, I'm like, it pisses me off. So I'd rather just have something that's just like more sturdier. But I'm in the market of looking at some other chairs and stuff.
I was looking at someone that does that. You do a lot of interviews with the great James Lynch. Like he upgraded to, I think it's the Secret Labs.
Secret Labs.
Yeah. He was. I was like, how much does that cost? I was looking at it, and he was like, just Google it. And I Googled it. I was like, holy shit! Like I'm away before I've got my shitty chair that doesn't move, doesn't make any noise. I'm gonna stick with that for now.
Yeah. Streamlabs, especially if you're gonna be sitting the whole time. Either get those or like really like high end streamers. A lot of them have the I think it's called Herman Miller's or something like that. They're like super high end chairs, but they're made for you to be able to sit in them for a long period of time. Like they're like very comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're streaming for what, like 4 or 5 hours. Like if you're not comfortable, like, you're gonna be cramping up when you're done.
So before I was streaming on a on like a dining room table. Man, my butt was killing me, man. I'm like, oh crap! I had to ask that real quick.
So what did you start? What was like the biggest thing you started with to upgrade? Because I know like everybody wants to go all out, the camera, the mic, and stuff. What was like the first piece of equipment that you got that you were excited about?
Besides the PC itself, I would probably say the mic. So I originally had a Yeti.
Yeah,
and my Yeti had like. I don't know if it was the problem with the Yeti or what, but I'll be talking on it and then it'll cut out. It happened in interviews. It happened like while I'm streaming, like all the time. I'm like, damn, man, I got to fix this. So I was just going like I was shopping around on the market to see what is like good mics, and this is a Shure 5, I think, or Shure 7, something like that. And I picked up one of those. They're like, it's good for podcasting, for stuff like that, for traveling. Yeah. But I saw a bunch of other people who stream, and they was like, I use it on my regular setup and it's perfect. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try. I'm gonna eventually get the the MB7 or whatever it's called, the
Yeah.
high end one. I'm gonna eventually get it when I go XLR, but I ain't got that kind of dough right now, so I just stayed in my budget. But yeah,
So
maybe after
you
a couple more wins.
so you have a USB mic for now?
Yeah, I got a USB mic right now. Yeah,
That's what I'm using too. Like everybody's saying, like you have to go XLR, and then even right now it's the webcam, but people are like you have to upgrade to the DSLR. But it's like you know, for me, before I do something like that, it has to make sense. Like if you're not making a certain kind of money from it, and if it's just sort of then why would I go all out for equipment when
exactly that was my same thought process because I wanted to because I'm using the Logitech I forgot what it's called. One of the Logitech cams, the C90, I think it's called. I'm using that, and I know a lot of people who upgraded from that. They're like, "Oh, I had that for a little bit, and I upgraded," and I'm like, I kind of want to upgrade because I see the different qualities from the C90 and like a Sony cam or whatever, or like a Canon or whatever, and the quality's night and day difference. So I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense to me right now. Same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it's at a point where you're making so much money from it, and at that point it's an investment. But if it's like if it's still fun, or if you're trying to see where it goes, like why would I spend that much money if if it doesn't make sense at the end of the day?
Exactly. So that's why I was like, nah, forget it. Not right now.
Or we mentioned James Lynch. He does this full time. He talks to everybody. Like someone like that, he upgrades. Of course, that makes sense. Like you're doing it full time. You can justify it, and it looks good, and you're employed. But yeah, for other people, maybe not so much. You have to wait until you sort of build that platform.
If my fan base, my streaming viewerships go up more, then I'll upgrade at some point. But right now, I'm just chilling. I'm more than anything, I'm trying to get a consistent stream, like viewer stream, because some days I'll have like 20, then some days I have like 60. It's like it's always like all over the place. So
well, it's the same thing for this, or even interviews. Like you'll get excited, you'll talk to like a big fighter or something like that. Just behind the scene, like you'll talk to the fighter and you're excited about it in your mind. Like I'm gonna put this on YouTube. It's gonna get all these views, and you're excited about it. It's a piece of content you produced, and then you'll get like ridiculous numbers. You'll get like 33 views or something. And you're sitting there thinking like, no, this deserves so much more, and it's frustrating. I feel that.
One thing I got some really good advice by a streamer, big streamer. He just said, just do it. Like no matter what your viewing is or whatever, he's like, just do it. He's like, even if like nobody's in your chat, nobody's talking, just keep streaming and engaging with the audience, engaging with people, stuff like that. He's like, they'll come. And I didn't know this, but there is people that like, I didn't notice until it was brought to my attention that there's people that they're like, I can't make his stream, but I'll watch his stream tomorrow night. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or I'll watch it later on after work or whatever. So there is that side of the audience as well. So he's like, just do it anyways, because those people will be watching, and they will come back and be like, hey, I saw your stream last week, blah, 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 and they ask you things about it. Yeah.
That's the crazy thing too. Like you'll think like no one's paying attention, and then for example, I was invited onto a podcast, and the guy tells me beforehand, he's like, people were asking for you to come on. It's like no way. It's like there's no way that's true. That's like, come on, man. Like I appreciate you saying that. There's no way. And then you realize like people might not say anything, but if it's good, they're paying attention.
Yeah, that's right.
But man, I mean, I have someone right here asking about your next fight, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that question out there. But he wants to know the location of your next fight. He said it's in February. We know that, but where? Do you have any idea?
I was told Vegas until otherwise. So,
I mean, it's pretty much like what, Vegas or Fight Island, right? It's like
Fight Island. Yeah. They I guess they just said like until they tell you otherwise that you're going to Fight Island, it's always going to be in Vegas.
Right. So, I mean, do you have a preference, or is it just whatever you're trying to fight?
I never fought in Fight Island, and I wouldn't bother me anyway. But I like the Vegas. I like the Apex. The Apex is cool. It's a small cage, but I'm used to fighting a small cage. Joe, my head coach, Joe Lozon, we have a small cage at the gym, so it's like whatever. I'm used to it. I'm used to sparring in there and stuff like that. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
So, what are you wearing right now? I'm sitting here. I'm trying to figure out. Are we looking at
Oh,
a chicken? Or are we, it's like, or maybe it's an eagle because
it's
it's
a
different color. What are we
it's a
looking at here? I'm going with chicken. I feel like it's a chicken.
it is a chicken. Yeah, it's a chicken. I've been on this onesie kick. I have two of them already, and then I was looking for like a coffee mug, like a travel coffee mug at Kohl's, and I saw this one, and I was like, gotta cop it. It was on sale, so I was like, what, $15? Can't beat that. So I was
$15
like, yeah.
get to be a chicken.
It is cozy as shit. It's so comfy and cozy.
I was about to say, like, the payoff, it's like you look like a chicken, but you must be comfortable in that
I'm
thing.
comfortable as hell.
Are you streaming with the thing on?
No, I didn't stream with this on. No, I just had put it on. But I had a robe on because I was really cold. So I had my window open. I was cold, and everybody was my robe is really comfy. Everybody was like, "Yo, that robe looks comfy as hell." I was like, it is. It
Yeah.
is.
Man, I'm trying to think here, but you're one of the fighters. Like, you have this nice setup for gaming, and then for interviews and stuff, you actually join us in the setup. Like Demetrius Johnson, I don't know if you saw last week, he did all these interviews, myself included, and he did everything on his cell phone from his kitchen. And finally, Ariel was like, "Don't you have a nice setup? Like, why are you joining us
Yeah.
in your kitchen? Like, isn't that part of the point?" But he was like, "Nah, that's just for gaming. You guys get kitchen and cooking and all that stuff."
No, I was like, man, I hate doing it on my phone.
Yeah,
Especially now that like whenever I have to interview and stuff like that, like on my phone, it's like unless I have to, but if I'm home, but on my PC, I'm like, yo, email me the link, sit on the link, do it there, you know.
yeah. I mean, the phone thing, like that's how everybody was doing it at first, right? And then you see
Right.
some fighters, they're driving when they do it or running errands, and it's like I mean, it's good because you want the content, but it's like, man, if you have somebody who sits down and has a setup like you do, you can
Yeah.
see the difference in quality.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it also like, it helps you guys as well. Cause
Yeah,
people don't want to tune in to seeing yours all professional setup and then some cell phone thing. Like you don't
yeah.
want that. You know what I mean?
Oh, and the fans, like, I didn't realize, man, the fans will go in, like, on my background, for example. There was a time I was doing
Right.
things from my apartment, and they were like, we can see your couch in your background and stuff like that. Every complaint fighters, they'd be like, we don't want to see the inside of your car. It's like, come on, man, like, just enjoy the content. But
Nah, yeah.
people,
Nobody
people
gives
really care, yeah.
I don't give two fucks for that. Like, just do it. Like, you can't control your background. Like, I
Yeah.
control all of this, but this is my house. It is
Yeah,
what it
right,
is. That's
yeah.
your house. It is what it is. I know some people likes to set up their whole background and do all of that type of stuff. Like where they put like a green screen behind them, or like how you do it, like behind the wall. I wish I had a nice setup where I can have that, like have it behind the wall, or like have like, so I got like all on the side here. There's like a bunch of figurines.
Yeah.
I'll take a picture of it and inbox it to you. And but I have a bunch of like figurines. Like I would like that displayed behind me, but
Yeah.
unfortunately we still got space for it. So
Well, the way I did it was like, the desk always goes, up to the wall, right? That makes sense. And then I realized,
yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, I don't want people to see, I guess, my apartments. They don't like it. And then literally I was like, if you just pull the desk a little bit, enough for you to sit, then you can have the wall. But then people started complaining about the wall. They were like, we don't like the wall being white. So I went to a Buffalo Wild Wings. They gave me a poster. I was like, fuck it. Let me just toss the poster in the back. It's like,
Toss it up there.
you're trying to make it work. But people, they know what they want to see in the background of these things.
We got to get you more posters. After my next fight, I'll send you a poster. I'll send you the
Yes,
poster of the next fight so we could get one on that side so people won't
yes,
complain so much. Like you
yes.
see Lynch's, he has a bunch of posters
Lynch.
all over the place.
Yeah.
So, I'll help you out. I'll start contributing because I'm pretty sure it's a bunch of fun. We get all them damn posters all the time. So it's like, yeah, have one. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
while we're tossing it out there, you got to sign it too, right? You got to personalize it a little bit.
I got you.
Rod signature.
I got you.
Did you see? You spoke about Lynch. I thought what he did was he had like a wall and he just tossed some stuff up there. He did the video showing us his day to day. His office is insane. Like
Really?
I told him I was like I was not ready for it. It's literally. I mean, it's a room that's an office. Posters everywhere. He has like the old arcade games like that.
Oh,
That
man.
is an insane office. Like I was told him I was not ready for the office to be that nice.
Yeah. I think like the best thing to do, especially for like podcasts and stuff, if you can, is like set it up like that. Like nice little lounge and stuff like that. Because another thing, what people love is content where it's like live, where like you and I are in the same room having a conversation. People love that. So if you can, definitely go for it. If you can, fuck yeah, go for it.
Oh man,
I mean, if you can't, don't break. Like, don't, not everybody can be Joe Rogan, but if you can get there, yeah, do it.
Well, that's the dream, man. I was like, someday I would love to have like a studio, and then like somebody texts you like, "Hey, man, we're flying Mike Rodriguez out, to be in studio or something like that." But to get to that point, you have to, like I was like, I'm gonna start this podcast. That way, I have some kind of foundation, and it's like, and if people like what I'm doing, eventually we can talk about. Well, I say we talk about. Somebody might be like, we see the potential. Maybe we'll do something in studio. But you have to start somewhere. If I was just like, give me a damn studio, like, nah. I would just get laughed out the room. Like, who are you?
No, but if I like, say if I were to like live in Vegas and I was doing like podcasts and stuff,
for sure, yeah,
dude, yeah, I'll take one of my bedrooms, just turn it into a whole thing. Have the fighter come through, like whatever. Or even just like, or if like I owned a house in like the basement area, change that up, come through, do an interview, it'll be cool.
Oh yeah, that'd be dope. Or the Schmo. I mean, he's in Vegas, and I think he rented out a studio, and he had people come in, and it looks good. It looks nice. I mean, it's definitely, there's a difference. I mean, people love the live stuff, but it's now with the pandemic, you got to do what you can.
Oh yeah, I know. You just got to make it work.
But no, I'm in North Carolina, so it's like, the only, like, I could have Derek Brunson and Jamie Pickett only so many times before people would be like, all right, man, we did it. Like, it'd be like, all right, Derek again, yes. Like, nah, it wouldn't work.
Special guest Derek Brunson for the third time.
Right, it's like he had Derek last week, so he's gonna have Jamie this week, and then guess who's next? It's Derek again. It's like, oh, okay, Luke. Like, what do you want to talk about for an hour every single time? It's like, talk about grocery shopping or whatever's going on. Like, that would get old real quick.
Oh, that's funny though.
Man, so what are you using to stream? Are you using OBS? I assume. I think that's what everybody's doing.
Yeah, I'm using Streamlabs OBS. I was using Studio, but Studio was like too much for me, and I'm like, man, I don't know how to do this shit on Studio. At the time I didn't know it, and then some friend of mine was like, yo, use Streamlabs. It's more handholding than Studios. So I started using it, but I mean, I could probably switch back to OBS and still be straight. OBS Studios. I know how to do a lot of the things now. Well, I learned all of this during like COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I learned all of it pretty much during COVID. Like, there was nothing else to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you might as well figure it out. But I mean, if it looks good, it's like stick with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like I had Demetrius, and I asked him, and he was like OBS, and I was like, yeah, well, I'm using StreamYard, and he gave me so much shit for it. He was
StreamYard?
He was like, you pay for StreamYard? It's like, you got to use OBS. And it's like, I have one of the goats give me shit about it's like, I'm supposed to be the reporter. I'm supposed to be the one telling you what to use.
Right.
Like, shit for it? Like, no.
What did he use? He used Streamlabs, you said? Or he used OBS Studios?
I think OBS Studio, yeah. I mean, he's the GOAT, so he's got to use the GOAT software too. Like,
do whatever he wants. Do whatever he wants.
Exactly. But you're following on Twitch though. I think you're at what, like 1,000 or something like that. Like I heard when you start to get to those kind of numbers, things start growing by themselves too. Like
I think things are starting to come. My thing is viewers, man. Like I said, I want to have a consistent viewer base. That's what my goal is right now. I think it's coming. I think it's a slow roll, but it's coming. Like people come in, they tune in. People follow me a lot. They'll pop in like, yo, what's up, Mike? Blah, 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 blah. Like, they help me out and shit too. Any troubleshoots. Because a lot of shit I don't even know. Like I learned on my own between videos and other people. So people will be like, oh, let me help you out. And so they'll help me out in that regards. But
so are people tuning in to watch, UFC fighter playing games, or have you reached the point where they see you as like a legit gamer? Like, it's not just like you have to use the UFC to get these fans.
I think, one of the things that a fan had said to me, which was pretty cool, is that I guess I interact a lot more than other, like either other fighters or athletes and stuff. I guess other people just, they don't. And I feel like sometimes I find myself like 60-40, like kind of playing a game, but not really. I'll be more interacting with them because I see it as like, I like interacting with people and I like interacting with my fans. I can't interact with them on every day-to-day base, but in the time frame that I am streaming, that's their time to interact with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, fuck it, like, you know, let's go hard. So I talk to them. They don't want to talk about whatever, but let's talk about it. Like, you know.
One of my favorite things on Twitch was I don't know if Rampage is still doing it, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not really on Twitch, but he used to do it, and there was one time where people were like pushing him to call Rashad Evans, because I guess they were still beefing at the time, and he finally did it, and they had the whole conversation, and they're messing around and stuff. And I know people love those kind of interactions. It's someone like Rampage, you know, he's a man of the people. Like,
Yeah, there was when I first when people first started to know me in the Siege community, there was like buzz going around about people talking about like Team Emerald versus Team Rampage, like for Twitch Classics or whatever, Twitch rivals. They're like, that'd be so sick, and I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. Like, I have my own, I build my own team, he builds his own team and everything. I'm like, yeah, that'd be sick.
We have to be careful with Rampage too, because not only are you guys rivals there, but you know, a very long time ago, it seems he was a 205er. So I mean, you know, you guys want to take it up a notch too.
He was,
man. But Rampage, I mean, you know, he was one of the fighters that helped me get into the sport. But that last fight against Fedor, it was such a sad thing to watch. Like, you know, I mean, you try to you stay unbiased and all that stuff, but you watch, and it's like, man, like it's so disappointing seeing, you know, what happened there.
I don't think I seen that fight, but my thing about like most of the fighters in that era is just I feel like a lot of them just have a hard time giving it up.
Yeah,
you know, like they just be sticking around way too long, and it's like, come on, you don't do that. Like, granted, whatever, like everything they ever done, is already set in stone in history. Like, it is, they already did it, but it's just like their health. You know what I mean? Like, you just want to see them. You know, like you want to see your heroes go on and like die in old age. You know what I mean? You don't want to see them go through CTE or any of that bullshit. So I'm like, oh man, like, why, dude? Don't fight. Like, honestly, my personal opinion, like, I didn't even think Romero should sign the Bellator. He's 42, 41. Just go. Yeah, just go be a coach. That's it. Go show the next generation how to do things. That, like, fuck it. Just hang it up. Let it go. You know, go start working on the next chapter in your life. I just feel like a lot of them never thought that. You know, it's unfortunate, but a lot of them never thought that. That's why you see them fighting these wild fights at Bellator. And it's like, why? Like, you don't need to be doing that, man. Just go. Just sail off in the sunset. Start teaching. You know, stop passing on your thing. Or even if you don't want to teach, fine. Just travel the world, do seminars, like something else. But don't continue to be fighting for no reason. There's no reason. There's not. Like, you did it all already. You became a world champion of multiple organizations. Like, you're Hall of Famer. Just fucking go. Just go. You know what I mean? Like, I hate seeing it. I try not to tune in, but I mean, the inner me, the fan is like, oh, I kind of want to see a knockout real quick. Like, you know, but I don't really like tuning in. I don't.
You know, my issue is every single time I tune in, I don't know why I think like this is the fight where he's just gonna be like psych, and we're gonna see prime, but, you know, Anderson Silva versus Uriah Hall. You're like, nah, it's the matchups that are wrong. Like, we're gonna see prime. You know, this is the matchup that's gonna bring it out, and then he gets knocked out, and you're like, oh man, like, you know. And then you look at the record, and then you start thinking, like, at what point could they have cut it off? Like Rashad Evans, I think if you look at his career and you're like, he should have just retired after the Chael Sonnen fight and just called it, and it would have been great. Like, guys like that. You mess with your legacy. Even BJ Penn, like, there was one time he was in the GOAT talk, and now you look at it and it's like, well, I think his record is like 10-10 or something crazy like that, 15-15, and you're just like, he may have been pound for pound one of the greatest, but you have to look at the way you finished the career too, and it's disappointing because it does mess with the legacy, whether we like it or not. And with the newer fans popping in with Conor McGregor and all those people, that new wave of guys, they're not going to remember those prime people like we did. They're going to think, you know, those guys they saw in Bellator that apparently were some kind of big deal back in the day.
Not only that, I'll say it something blue in the face. My man GSP did it the best.
Oh yeah.
Fought, he came, he was like, yo, I'm out. I'm retiring. He left on top, came back, looked for the opportune fight. He was like, I could beat Bisping. I'm taking that fight. Went out there, beat Bisping, and was like, I'm good. I just want to see if I still got it.
Right. Yeah,
And it's like,
yeah.
everybody was like, what the fuck? Like, you just
Right.
come with,
Yeah.
I just want to flex real quick, guys. Don't worry about it. But yeah, it's like that. He's the perfect person. The perfect person. He went out, did his thing, dip. That was it. He didn't go through this whole phase where he get like, and also he also fought really smart. He was very smart fighter, a very smart fighter. So he never really took punishment. I think the most punishment we've seen him fight, the Condit fight and the Hendricks fight.
Oh yeah.
Like that's like in I guess you could say the Matt Serra when Matt Serra clipped him. But like other than that, GSP never really get touched. Because he's always blast double. See you later. Jab, jab, blast double. Like, you know? So it's like, I don't like, but yeah, I think that everybody should just follow his suit. Just retire. You're on top, retire. Get a bunch of title defenses or whatever, just retire. But I know the money, the fame, like you get all of that. People want that. They want to milk it to the cows come home. But it's just like, it's not worth it. Is it really worth it to fucking be slurring your words in the next 10 years? Like, is it worth it? It's not it to me, you know?
Well, I mean, GSP, it was like, he saw Michael Bisping, and let's be honest, everybody felt like it was kind of fluky that he became champion, even though it was a tremendous moment. Right. He comes back, he liked the matchup, and then people were like, all right, Robert Whitaker, and he was like, oh, no. Like,
he was like, he was smart. He was smart. That was when Robert Whitaker was that guy. And the people are like, nah, I don't want to fight him. I do not want to fight Bobby Knuckles. He was like, oh, no. Nah, he can take the fight. I just want to see if I get the title. I did it. I'm good. I'm going back home.
Or no, I love the retirement fights. Like Uriah Faber, he was this close to doing it right. Like he fought Brad Pickett, I think, in the retirement fight. Fun little fight. Called it in Sacramento. Came out to California Love. Everybody's like, all right, cool. That's it. In the retirement fight, you won it. Awesome.
That's it.
Came back, got the knockout, and you're like, all right, cool, but go ahead and call it, man. You're so close. And then he lost a real bad one too. I believe it was Jan, and then it was
Jan.
Like you messed it, like. And looking back today, you're like, man, you definitely shouldn't have taken that fight. It's like
that Jan fight. He was like light. It felt like he was like light years behind. Jan was beating him everywhere. I'm like.
And people don't do that to Uriah Faber. Like even when he lost to Dominic Cruz and stuff, you weren't doing that to Uriah.
No, like that was nuts. I'm like that, but that just shows you the levels, like how the game evolves. Like the game is it's just so different now. Like I like back in the day, you could go and see all those guys. Like it was like guys were good, but they were also like tough, and nobody wanted to be known to be tough. The guys today are fucking athletic as fuck. Like, you know what I mean? They're athletic as fuck, doing wild shit. And it's like, you can't keep up with the times. Like, you know what I mean? You got to adapt. You got to keep up with the times. And some fighters didn't. So those are the ones that get dwelled out. And then follow time, catch up to some other fighters. Just let it go,
I mean,
it's
people
hard.
Today, they're so well-rounded too. Like they were talking about guys like Rampage is a great example where it was like he could wrestle if he had to, but he wants to box the whole time. And people today, they show up and they're just complete. It's like where do they excel? It's like a little bit everywhere, and that's how you go far in your careers. You do see the difference with the generations and everything, like you mentioned.
Yeah, it's tough. Did you saw the fights last weekend?
I did a live watch along with Fightful, so it was cool because it was like the whole time it was like I have to, I'm live and I'm reacting in real time, not on my couch drinking a beer. It's like people were paying. What am I saying? And what a card it was to watch. All 5 fights,
so good.
All 5 fights were excellent. I mean, people were asking me the next day because I was doing more podcasts. And I was like, which fight was like number one or what? Really, I got to pick one. Like every single fight was a banger on that.
So good, like from start to finish, like so good. I mean, granted, two of my guys lost. Peter Barrett and Billy Q. Billy Q extended family. He's not a Lozon guy. He's about a Matt Arroyo guy, and Matt Arroyo and Joe are really tight. So he's always, always show respect and love for those guys. But man, it was just it was rough for them too. I'm like, damn. But the fights were just bangers, man, bangers.
Oh, you sort of look at it and you're like, they're fun on paper, but there's always that one fight, like you finish, it's like, okay, that happened. Let's go to the next. Even the Mackenzie Dern fight, like, I had so many good things to say about Mackenzie Dern. You break your nose, keep showing up in the third and win that round, win the fight. It was like every single fight had like, you could watch that whole pay-per-view again, and there wouldn't be anything you'd want to skip over.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
So, I
Agree.
mean, which fight impressed you the most? Everybody kept asking me that, and I was forced to pick something. I went with Kevin Holland just because I was like, you don't do that to Jacare, and you see the weird position he got him. So I went with that one. What did you go with? What would you go with ultimately?
The Kevin Holland fight was pretty sick. Was pretty wild. But I was gonna go with the kid that knocked out Makano. The dude that knocked out Makano. I can't say his last name. It's like Kazire or something like that. Kazire. He's a 55er from out of Tiger Muay Thai. He's with Peter Yan and who's the 45 champion that beat Aldo?
Oh, Volkanovski.
Volkanovski. They're like in that whole clique. He's the 55er of them two. So if they're the two 45 and 35 kings, he's the 55er. That motherfucker is cold. The way he knocked out Makano was wild.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he went viral because he had a bunch of Muay Thai fights. And he was known for his slip back. They tried to throw a head kick, he slipped back. He was like notorious for it. And he's cold, he's nasty.
Yeah.
Man, he went out there and he hit Volcano with that damn combination. It was so crisp. And he was just cracking his leg kick.
Yeah.
Then he just opened up with a body shot. Boom, come with the hook. Bam. Then he came over with the overhand. Then came over with the hook. Boom, cleaned it up. The way Makano felt, dude, I thought somebody shot him. He just stiffed up and fell back. I was like, oh my God.
And people
man, it was crazy.
People were saying it was early, and then you saw more. Like he starts to get up, and you're like, maybe it was early, and then you saw the legs give out, and you're like, hold up, no.
I was like, oh yeah, dude, that shit had me go. I was going ape shit. I was like, oh, and the funny thing is, I was talking to one of my coaches on the phone. Him not talking. My coach Jake, shout out to Jake. He's out actually in Vegas now with Rob Font. I'm talking to him on the phone. Him not talking, we're like setting up our schedule for the week, like because I know he was leaving. So I'm like, yo, what day you good? Blah, blah. He's like, I don't know, whatever. And I'm talking to him on my phone, watching. I was like, oh shit. He was like, what happened? Oh, and then he was like a second delay behind mine. So he's like, oh shit. And then we just was like just freaking out. But yeah, that was a good fight. Mackenzie Dern, she showed a lot of improvement, which I really liked.
Yep.
She really did. There was Moreno.
Yeah.
I thought he did so well. I thought he could have won the fight. I thought he won the fight. I honestly thought, I'm like, he secured a lot of takedowns, but the only thing what he fucked up on, and I think now that I heard from his I think he said in an interview or something that he had a broken arm or something like that.
Yeah, something with his shoulder or something.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that's understandable. My big thing with him is that at no point in that fight he did not take the center. Yeah. He stepped staying on the warning track line, and he just kept letting Figueiredo take the center, which like he didn't do anything to get him the fuck out the middle to reclaim the center. Because like, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if other fighters ever talk to you about this stuff, but big strategy to fighting is having octagon control, which is that middle piece. That's being huge, in the middle of that piece is huge. And he didn't do anything to get it. Like in the times where he could have got it, he didn't capitalize it to get it. Like, you know what I mean? So that was the only bummer about it. But otherwise, man, he did fucking really good. He did really good.
For sure. I mean, Figgy going into the last couple rounds, I was like, okay, he still looks good. Let's see. And then he came out, I think it was the fourth or something. You start seeing him get a little flat-footed, and he's not defending anything anymore. Because, he was dipping and stuff. And then he stopped that. Now he's just eating shots and then throwing a big one. And it was like, okay.
He got hit with a mean-ass combination. Once they came, and just like, wow, fight, he did hit to the body, then hook to the head. Bam! I was like, oh, shit. Those flyweights, man. I like watching flyweights fight because I'm like, I don't know what he's going. It's like watching a DBZ fight. You're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But the shitty thing is it makes you think, like, what if Mighty Mouse and Cejudo were still there? Like, you're like, man, there's all these fantasy fights you want to see. And it's like, this is great. But it's like, man, like, and these guys are still in their primes. Like, man, you want to see that.
I mean, to bring back Mighty Mouse now and to fight in that realm,
You don't think he's the same fighter he was before?
it's no. I don't. I think he still is. He's still a dog. He's still Mighty Mouse. But
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of like all the matchups. Ugh, excuse me, because there's like a whole new list of guys that are in the 125 now, right? It's not like it's not the same dudes when he was around.
They cut everybody and they signed a new guy.
Yeah, they signed a bunch of new guys. Yeah. So yeah, man, it would be cool. Like because isn't Cody No Love a 25er now, right?
That's what they're saying. I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but in theory, he should be. That's what they're saying.
He was supposed to fight Figgy before Perez and Marino. So it's like you got him there, you got Perez, you got Marino. Perez, shout out to Perez. Season 5 week 5 winners out here. But yeah, shout out to both of those guys. Like, both of those dudes, they're I don't know. Think about Mighty Mouse is that the things he did, he just was so complete. He was that athlete that we're talking about. He can strike, he can wrestle, he can grapple. He always was great shape. He never gassed, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I honestly think he will give Fig problems because Fig is an explosive fighter and Mighty Mouse is too finesse and too quick to get caught. So I don't think he's going to catch him to hurt him like that. And I think if he does catch him, it's like on the way in, like, he'll catch him doing something in the middle of an exchange or something. Yeah, man, it would. Yeah, those fights would be pretty sick.
But I mean, people forgot the first Cejudo versus Mighty Mouse fight. Like, people like to go to the second one. Personally, I thought Mighty Mouse had it, but it is what it is. But that first one, he destroyed Cejudo. Like, I don't know why
he got Cejudo. I don't even know how. Usually, when a contender gets destroyed that bad so fast like that, there's usually they don't get a rematch. No. And the fact that Cejudo got a rematch was insane. Yeah. And shout out to Cejudo, he won it. But the first time he dusted the shit out of him. It was bad. Yeah. Get the hell out of here. I'm like, geez. And it was so funny. I was watching that with like two friends of mine who are like huge like wrestling heads, like collegiate wrestling heads. Like and they're like, yo, Cejudo's the truth. Like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, I know, but MMA's a different beast. He got and Mighty Mouse just put him down.
That pay-per-view was good though. If I'm thinking, it is Yair Rodriguez and Andre Fili, but the main event was a little bit. That was John Jones OSP. Like, the main event was a little.
Yeah, it was all right. It was like John was like real flat in that fight. He wasn't like himself. He just. But that just shows how good he is, that even on an off day, he still was nasty. He still was doing work.
44 or something like that. Yeah, so he still swept the cards.
He's still doing work. And he was flat as shit. Like, he just was not himself. Yeah.
I mean, they were saying he got too big too, because now we're seeing the pictures of the heavyweight stuff, but he got real big when before the OSP fight. People were saying, "Oh, he got too big."
He was huge, man, huge. Yeah, he was lifting like a motherfucker. I'm pretty sure he was eating everything in the fridge. So yeah. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but when I lift, I get really hungry, like really hungry. Like if I lift like really hard, I get really hungry. So, but
that's the way it works, man. Calories in, calories out. Like,
I guess you're right. Yeah, you're right. It makes sense.
Especially you guys' bodies too. Like, you guys are used to, expending all that energy. So you get done lifting more than you normally do. Like, you gotta eat that whole ass chicken just like you're wearing and all that stuff.
Damn right. Damn right. This is the chicken I ate earlier today after SOS. Nah. But they what's the next card is next week is this
Jeff
week is
Font and Thompson. And Font Moraes. And I mean the whole card, like, I heard people saying it's not too good. Bro, look at this card. If you threw a title fight, this is a pay-per-view. I mean,
it's a sick ass card, especially for like up and coming guys and stuff like. Yeah, it's dope. I don't know what the hell people talk about. It's a hot card, and I think the main event with Neil and Wonder Boy, he can't give any respect to Wonder Boy. As soon as you get respect to Wonder Boy, he goes off.
Yep,
he goes off.
Well, to bring a little insight, I talked to Jeff Neal because, I'm curious because this could very well be the same thing as, like go back and look at the Masvidal fight and the Luque fight. Like that's Stephen
Mhm.
Thompson in his element, controlling the entire thing, sweeps the scorecards, and it's over. So, I'm asking Jeff Neal a little bit about it, and he's saying, he watches the Vicente Luque fight a lot. And for me, it's like, that's interesting because that could very well be the same kind of fight. And he was saying, I'm going to get in his face and stuff like that. It's not going to be
Mhm.
lackluster. So it really, and he's got such a great team, great coaches. So it sounds like they're doing the right things to make sure that they sort of stifle his Stephen Thompson's, weird movements. He's standing sideways and stuff like that. So I'm very interested to see what
It's
Jeff Neal's
real.
going to
It's
do.
real awkward fighting somebody
Yeah.
like that.
I mean,
Real
how do you even
awkward.
hit
It's
him?
like a
Like
longer Machida. He's like so long too for
he's
that division.
literally sideways. Like how do you hit that clean? Like
Mhm.
that's such a weird style.
And he need that sidekick, somebody there to keep you back at all times.
Yeah.
Like he has to shut that shit down. Got to get in his face.
Yeah.
Let it get in his face.
I mean, some people are like, like Darren Till did. It's like, nah, that was home cooking. Like
Home cooking.
do not look at that. Or Jeff Neal too. I was like, what'd you think of that fight? He was like, home cooking. It's like everybody says it's home cooking. Like, don't look at me
Home
like,
cooking.
oh man. And I found out I put a bunch of home cooking tweets and gifs out, and then I go online and I see all these articles that are taking all my stuff talking about the media saying home cooking. I was like, oh well,
Wow.
showing up like yeah.
Home cooking. Oh, that's home cooking. Oh
Um,
man.
But I mean, that's but when you guys are out there fighting, not now in Vegas because you don't really have home cooking. There's no home to be cooking in this case. But is that something you guys must think about that, right? Like if I don't finish this guy, like if we're in their home, like things get a little bit weird.
Like wait, you talk about if you repeat that again?
So like if you said home cooking, right? Darren Till's fighting in Liverpool. Stephen Thompson comes to Liverpool. There's a chance that the judges could get a little bit weird. Are you guys thinking
Yeah.
about that kind of thing?
Nah, I don't think about when I fought. Well, there was really no fight. I just got one shotted. But when I fought, what's his name in Korea?
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of that shit. I'm just like,
Yeah.
nah, I just got to beat him. I don't know. I just feel like if you think about things like that, it just puts that additional like
Pressure,
imagination pressure on you. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you're just creating it. It's like setting them against yourself. Just go out there and do what you've been training the last 6 to 8 weeks been doing. Just do that same thing. It obviously is easier said than done,
Right.
but you know what I mean? It's gonna work. You guys been working on it for so long, it's gonna work. Those are things that sharpen your mind. So if you go out there and do them 9 times out of 10, you win. That's why there's game plans in fighting. So it's like if you don't think about any of those other external factors, you should be good. Because we've seen people go to other people's homes and embarrass the shit out of the home with the guy. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I just think you just got to go in there and do what you got to do, not focus on that.
Here's
Home
something
cooking.
Yeah. You like that home
I like
cooking.
that. I like that. I'm a cookie cut that. Yeah, it's home cooking. Yeah.
Every time people ask me about that, but I don't know why Stook gets brought up. And it's like, that's some home cooking right there. Like, But listen, man, I do a lot of these podcasts, and people they always ask me, my relationship with the fighters, and I feel like the media. We always talk about that kind of thing. What about you guys though? Like you, for example, because I feel like you have a consistent amount of guys that you always talk to. But what's your relationship like with the MMA media? I mean, looking at it from the outside, it seems pretty positive, but I'm sure you have different kinds of interactions behind the scenes.
Nah, the media guys, they're cool. Like it's not like I never have no issue with them. I don't really know what issue I can possibly have with them. I think what it is, a lot of people get their panties in a bunch because they get upset. Like, oh, he said this about him. It's like, dude, he's media. Like that's his job is to create a story. Like that's just literally what he gets paid for. So like, why the fuck do you care? Like, let him do his job. Like he has to pay. He has to fucking put food on his table too. Like, you know what I mean? If you're like nervous about what the media says or anything like that, then people should watch what the fuck they say. And the media won't take stuff and regurgitate it because that's what they're going to do. That's what they're looking for. Just be careful, be mindful of what you say. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go out there and say some old asshole shit just so that you guys can take it and go use it. You know what I mean? To get yourself some buzz. Like, no, just be smart about what you say and it'll be good.
The way I see it is for the media, for me, I see it as kind of like the bridge between the fans and the fighters, right? Like the fans don't have access, so it's kind of up to people like us when we interview you and stuff. bring out the sides of the fighters that the fan wouldn't get to see if he's watching the fight or
Right.
UFC embedded. Like, or people, I'm sure every interview you do, someone brings up Twitch to kind of get a different side of Mike Rodriguez, like they do with Mighty Mouse. But,
Yeah.
it's an attempt to sort of, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, he's not just the guy you see fighting. Like, people want to get to know you a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. And then like I know some guys who just like don't do interviews. They're like, nah, I don't be doing that shit. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like I like it. I think it's fun. Like I said, we're like helping each other in a sense. Like you put me on your platform, I'm putting you on my platform.
Right. Exactly.
We're both gonna eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so I have no beef with it, but a lot of people do. I hear about it all the time. Fucking media, man. But why do you care? Like, why do you care? Like, they just saying shit. Like, that's their job. I'm sorry, like, I'm not shitting on them or anything, but it's just it's his job to create a story. Like, to give people the image that, like, they're like, oh, to give people the image of the fighter. Like, oh, this is Mike Rodriguez. Like, you're gonna post this. I'm wearing a fucking chicken suit on. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? It's not like you're lying about it. It's true. I'm wearing a chicken suit. And like, but people get just butthurt about it. And I just always say, like, if you don't want shit to be out there, don't do shit for shit to be out there. Just don't be an asshole. You'll be good.
But I mean, most media is pretty good too. Like we mentioned James Lynch a lot. Obviously, he's one of the best. But I mean,
that's my guy.
I feel like he's great for bringing out that side of the fighter too. Like and he's not hunting for the big quote. Like he's not telling you do you want this guy to fuck off or something. It's just a genuine interaction for 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, like I did one with him last Monday, I think, or Monday before last. We did one, and I was like sitting in a restaurant. I'm just like sitting there chilling.
You did his.
He was asking me.
Like
he was asking me all sorts of stuff. It was cool. It was mad chill, super chill. Like I don't mind those. My only thing about the media is that they ask the same fucking questions. They ask the same fucking questions. Like it's like, dude, do a little bit of homework, just a little bit. And that's not even like for me. I don't care. I'm the content. Like I don't give a shit. I'll tell you, I'm fighting this guy this day. Yeah. There's my game plan, whatever. Like I got no problem with that. But just as a listener, because I also am a listener, because I listen to other people's podcasts and other people's interviews. So I like to hear what other fighters got to say. Yeah. It's boring. It's boring to listen to. And like, I wouldn't want to, like, this is cool. You and I were talking about a bunch of shit. You barely asked me about my fight or anything like that. Like, this is cool because you're learning about me versus to just ask me, telling you the same shit. But most of the news outlets, it's the same fucking questions. Rinse, wash, repeat. Like, it's the same thing. You're like, dude, a little bit of homework. Just a little bit.
Well, I talked to Mark Montoya, and I was like, from a media perspective, like, what's the things we don't see behind this? Like, are we talking to fighters too much? Are we taking up too much of their time during camp? And he was like, well, yes and no. But he was like, the number one thing, every fighter tells me the same thing is they ask me the same fucking questions every time. What are your thoughts on your opponent? Do you like the match? And there's shit we have to ask, but I feel like you have to try to be a little bit more creative. Like, there's only so much you can say about the fight, but I was trying to think of some things. Like, when you ask a guy, what are your thoughts on your opponent? I was like, let me put themselves in their shoes real quick. If I'm the fighter and you ask me, what do you think about him? What do you want to say other than, he's a good fighter? I like the matchup. I mean, there's nothing interesting you can really say about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like it'll be cool if you ask like, what's your favorite movie? What show you watching right now? That's another thing with James so back when I used to fight for CES and I first met James Lynch, he was like, same thing, kind of like just like coming up in the scenes or whatever, and him and I would talk. It's one of the questions he would always ask me. Yo, what are you watching right now?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I started watching Sopranos because that was how we started our friendship. You would say is the first show I was watching. I'd never seen it before. It was Sopranos, and I was telling him about it. I'm like, man, like I'm watching Sopranos, whatever. He was like, oh man, he said you're gonna love it. It's great, and like that's how we connect. You know what I mean? That builds a relationship. Yeah, and I feel like that's how it should be. Like that's what it should be. Ask like real questions that people want to answer.
I think that the biggest thing also is, I was like, one of my advantages is the fact that I'm so young. Like, full disclosure, I'm 23. Like, there's not that many guys that are that young. But I was like, I think if I'm genuine, you know what I mean? Like, work on my professionally. But I think if you're genuine, people can see that too. If like I'm clearly reading, like, you're fighting, blah blah blah. Do you like him? Like, but if it's just, it's a more genuine interaction. Like, you feel a little bit, it's like that guy might be young, whatever. But at least the stuff we talk about is interesting enough that I don't mind taking 10 minutes, sit there and talk to him before my upcoming fight.
Yeah, you're really authentic. Like you're cool. Like you're a straight shooter. Like we're sitting here kicking it, chatting. You're good. Like yeah, you're young, but you're mature. You're holding your own. You know what I mean? You're
Well, I
not
think,
like
yeah. That was the goal of this podcast. Like I had Curtis Blades, for example, and we were talking about sort of the interviews he does because he hates doing media, and I was like, what's the worst stuff you do? And he's like, it's those fucking podcasts you've never heard of where you've got like two fans telling me where are you from and stuff. He's like, can't you just go look that up real quick? Like you gotta ask me if I'm from Chicago. And so I was like, if I do a podcast, it's gonna be none of that shit. We're just gonna sit here talk about whatever pops up, and I'm not gonna. So Mike Rodriguez Mexican? Like, no, it's like just whatever pops up. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't have to be,
Yeah. Well, I like to just help out other people too. So that's just like the good nature in me. So I do give like those social media like platforms with like 2 people listen to them. I do give them a chance because I'm like, I was at a point in my life where I was scraping up. I had to sell tickets. Like, you know what I mean? I had literally, every fighter will tell you, it's one of the most annoying fucking things ever is selling tickets. Like, it's so annoying. You want to fight in this card, but you got to sell 50 tickets. Right. So you got to go around, ask people, collecting money, losing money, people to stand together. Sometimes you got to take money out the pot to fucking fill your gas tank to get to the gym, like all those struggles. So like I understand it, I fucking get it. So I help out. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, there's this dude got this little MMA outlet. He's trying to come out in the world. All right, yeah, I got you. I'll be your first UFC guy. But it also opens doors for them for other UFC guys because other UFC guys, all right, he did it, so I'll do it. So yeah, it helps out.
I mean, do you have I had to do the watch along for the pay-per-view, and I think a big thing they liked is the fact that Kevin Holland was fighting, and Kevin Holland notoriously sent me a nasty text message basically saying don't fucking hit me up. So they were enjoying that. But do you and if you want to hear the story, I'll give it to you. But do you have like the media member, like if they were to hit you up for an interview, like you'd spend 10 minutes going and then you'd have to think about it and you're like, I guess, or I'm not doing media for this camera. I don't like
that. Nah. I just all right, yeah, what's up? Let's do it. And I just schedule it with them. Sometimes like fucking I got super bad ADD. So sometimes I'll just forget, or I'll for instance, today I'm sitting there streaming or whatever. Like it's not personal. It's not like I'm like, man, fuck this kid. Like what? Nah, ain't none of that. It's just that I literally I'll just space it, and I just need a reminder about, yo, Mike, we said you was. Oh shit, yeah, my bad, sorry. But yeah, so like a lot of times I do that, and I'm like, oh fuck, I feel like a dickhead. Like I just missed out on this guy. Like I feel bad, But no, I don't be. No, I don't be like that. No. Fucking Kevin Holland.
I mean, I feel like you want to hear it, and I feel like the people they always like to hear.
You gotta let it rip. You brought it up. You gotta let it rip.
Of course. So listen, as a media guy, right? I like to. You hit up fighters for interviews, but you don't want it to be like I only hit you up if I want something, right? You know what I mean? You try to be like at least it's like you try to be as human about it as you can. Like if you interviewed a guy, he comes off a win, it's like, hey, congratulations on the win, man. Like no big deal. So Kevin, I had texted him because I got his phone number from his manager. Everything's nice and professional. We're texting back and forth trying to get an interview set up. And he's like, how'd you get my number? Blah, blah, blah. And then we talked. And then, I got left on scene. So then I was like, all right, okay, whatever. I guess it's not happening. No big deal. He won not the Jacare fight, but the fight before. And so I texted him I was like, oh, Kevin won. I have his number real quick. Hey, congratulations on the win, man. Put my phone down, went to sleep that night. Woke up the next morning. I don't save nobody's number. So, I look at the area code. I'm like, who is this? And then I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's Kevin. And it's this paragraph, and it starts with not trying to be rude. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. And he was like, but it's one thing to hit me up because my manager gave me your number. But now you texting me like you think we friends, we think we buddies or something. Don't be hitting me up. This is personal. I was like, oh my God. And I'm sitting there like, what? Like the way I thought was, I texted him, put the phone down, forgot about it. It was just like, whatever. And then you wake up, it's like, what, you think we're friends? Like, you think you can say you're friend? And I think we're friends on Facebook too. So it's like, forgive me for thinking we had some sort of,
some bond.
Yeah, like we had something, but
that's a bad man, dog. Don't get on his mess.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
People were hyping up, like, if you see him at an event, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna keep my head down and mind my own business. Like, what am I about? So Kevin Holland, you texted me talking about, you ain't trying to be rude. Hell no, I'm mind my own business. Like, if you ask me to pass him some water, I'm gonna pass him some water. Like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, no.
That's so funny, dude.
But at first I was like, I'm not gonna say it, and then finally I was like, but who cares? Like, it's just a funny thing. It's not like but people are already talking to me about if we got Kevin to do it, would you do a sit down and hash it out? I was like, yeah, I'm a man of the people, but Kevin's not gonna remember. I was like,
you trying to just hash it out, Kevin? He's like, nah, fuck it.
No, they'd be like, Lucas, you want to hash out with Lucas? He'd be like, who? And be like, you texted him. Now I don't know who that is, and then it'd just be real weird. So I told people, I was like, if you want to do some kind of Kobe and Shaq sit down where we have the chairs real close together, and Kevin, I had the best of intentions when I texted you, man, and I'm sorry, I don't think we're buddies. Like, no, like that. I mean, if people want to do it, but that'd be weird. That would be super weird.
It would be weird. It would just make everything worse.
Yeah, and how Kevin Holland is too. Like, you think he would just sit down and be like, you know what, Lucas, my bad, my man. Like, I didn't mean it like that. No, that would escalate the situation, and it would have everybody talking about some charity fight between a random reporter and Kevin Holland.
Dude, I'm telling you, a lot of people don't like the media.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it. I mean, but I think that's the thing too is, not trying to force people to do interviews either. Like, hit them up every 5 seconds. It's like, I don't know if I can. All right, no big deal. But, if I'm not going up to Kevin Holland, like, do it, Kevin. I want to talk. Like, no, you have to respect these guys too, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. I never felt disrespected by any of the media or anything, like none of that shit. So it's been cool.
I feel like some of the cooler interviews you guys do are with smaller guys. Like, I don't want to say James Lynch is a smaller guy, but he's not like an MMA junkie or something. But I feel like the bigger the outlet, the more fundamental the interview is. How's the fight, how's the cut, all that stuff, and you don't leave with a sense that either guy had fun doing that kind of interview.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been getting a couple cool ones. Well, my fan base is a little different most than other guys. Like, I got like weebs and fucking and gaming and all sorts. Yeah. So like, I get like all sorts of different things. Sometimes I've had interviews literally where not one word of fighting, like nothing, only the introduction. That's it. Other than that, nothing. Like, we talk about everything under the sun. I have had like conversation about like mental health, about like views on the world, like shit like that. Like, it's never it's never. It's not always like that for me.
I mean, no, I mean that's good too. But have you reached that point now where interviewers try to bring up Twitch to sort of get you to open up and feel comfortable? Like Mighty Mouse, everybody talked about Twitch, even though nobody knows anything about it. Like, do you get that now, or are people?
Yeah, people talk about it. They ask me about it, and I tell them, I'm like, yeah, Emerald MMA.
Right, you plug your stuff.
I'll be there, yep, and I'll be like Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 1 p.m. I'm gonna switch it back to night times again later on, but while I'm in camp at 1, because I want to get to bed early and shit.
Yeah, have you seen the stuff with Mighty Mouse where people they start the interview like, so you play video games, and then they try to switch over to fighting? Because Mighty Mouse, he doesn't take that shit. Like, he can be a tough interview. Like, you see people try to be slick about it.
I never seen his interviews. You gotta send me one.
I'm gonna plug mine. Like, here's just a random one I picked up, but he's very like, you ask him a question, he's gonna answer your question, But you see guys start off like, so you play video games on Twitch, do you like that? And it's like, if you don't know what you're talking about, like, it's gonna, especially
he's
since
gonna call you out on it. Yeah,
it's gonna be weird. Like, it's like, or Ariel Hawani's like, I don't know video games, but I'm gonna talk about it. It's like, no, don't do that. Like, that doesn't sound like a real interaction when you do that.
No, it doesn't sound right. It's not authentic. People don't want to hear that. Yeah.
But so, speaking for you, do you have some kind of goal, like when we're talking about the media, like to appear like on an ESPN for an interview, or is there something where you'd hope that you get that, or even the Joe Rogan Experience, get that text like, hey, you trying to come by?
Yeah, I'll be fucking sick. That'll be really cool. I don't know what I'll talk to Joe Rogan about besides
aliens and do you believe in this or that? I mean, it's gonna get weird. You get on Joe Rogan.
It's gonna get weird. It will get weird, but I'm open for it. But yeah, I would. We probably will just talk a lot about Boston since
Yeah.
he was there. He
Oh,
lived
yeah,
there for a
that's
long
right.
time.
Yeah.
He's from there. Yeah, you know, probably talk a lot about Boston. But other than that, yeah. And if I do go on there, I got to bring Joe with me. I
Oh,
have
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
He loves Joe Lozon. He loves Joe. So I'm like, yep, Joe's coming.
They're gonna talk about jujitsu for 3 hours, and you can just kind of sit
Yeah, I
back,
just sit there and just chill.
alone.
How about Jamie? Could you pull that up?
Yeah,
I just want to pull that. Jamie, pull that up.
even I'll never be on that show, but you think about like, is there a way you could seamlessly be like, "Hey, Jamie, pull that up," and then like, it's like the bucket list thing. I did it.
That's all I want to do. Is that it? I'm like, no, Joe, I got this. Yo, Jamie, pull that up.
Did you see Israel do it? Israel went on his podcast the first time. It didn't come out right, but it was like, yeah, you won that fight by knockout. Yeah, Jamie, go ahead and pull that up. I was like, he got it. He did it.
That's awesome. I got this fucking string right here. I'll clip with the scissors. But yeah, that would be cool to be on there. I was on Jimmy Smith's podcast, I think it is, right?
Oh,
and he had on
Sirius XM and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yep, I was on his podcast. That was fun.
I can't believe Jimmy Smith is doing media now. He was such a good commentator. Like,
I'm
that Bellator for that.
Does it boggles my mind. It doesn't like I'm like, how he's so good at commentating. Yeah. He's so good. Like having like him and Rogan and like him, Rogan and Anik, or him, DC, Anik, like something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like change it up every different little bit. He's so good. He's so good.
And he's good because he's doing media. Like you have some guys where they like stumble over, like Mike Goldberg. You're never gonna see him switch over to podcasting or media. No offense to him, but it just But he's on Sirius XM. He's on like the biggest radio platform. So this guy's good at what he does. So and every time I watch a Bellator broadcast, I'm like, no offense to these commentators. The only one I really like is Morrow. But everybody else is like, man, why did you let go of Jimmy Smith? Like he was clearly the best guy you guys had.
Oh no, I can lie. I asked him too. I'm like, yo, because like you say, like in the back before the show comes on, him and I were just talking. I'm like, why did they let you go? Like, I'm like, why? Why is it him? Like, why did they do you like that? He's like, they wanted their guys. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, fuck, man. Yeah, he was good. I liked him a lot.
I mean, and I love when people would always kind of do like the Bellator Joe Rogan because they're both bald, both doing the same role. I always thought that was cool. Like, you guys want to be UFC so bad, you got your own Joe Rogan, but he was legitimately good.
And like the thing about what he did so well is that he was good at breaking it down because there's a lot of people who watch UFC but don't know MMA. If that makes sense. Like, I watch UFC. But you're like, all right, then what the hell is that right there? They're like,
right.
I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't know. So they really, I feel like for our sport to grow more and more, we need more people that can break it down to explain to people like they're five. Because I go to like if I go to a bar, watch a fight, and I'm like, oh shit. Oh, and I'm like, that number ain't even close. People are like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm like, here's why. Blah, 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 blah. And I got to break it down, explain to them. And they don't know. They listen to the commentator, and I'm just like you don't know. Like, you just don't know.
I was at Buffalo Wild Wings with my friends where we got the poster, quick plug. But, it's like Israel. If you don't know what you're watching, like, this guy's feinting, these guys' footwork. And I'm talking about it with them. I'm like, look at his footwork and stuff. And they're looking at me like, what are you talking about? Like, huh? It's like, bro, you don't understand like all the little things he's doing to make Costa look so bad.
Like I was explaining a couple of weeks ago. I think it was like, I don't remember who I was explaining to, but I was explaining to people about knockouts and shit. And I'm like, knockouts usually happen. Like there's like 6 or 7 moves before a knockout happens. That sets it up. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? And I'm like, and I had to like pull up. Oh, it was my stream. That's what I was talking to. It was my stream. I was streaming and somebody asked me about that. And I explained to them, I'm like, oh, you're just going to go out there and knock them out. I'm like, knockouts aren't easy. They're set up from like way back when. Like it's so much. You can count how many knockouts that they're like one shot out. Like the first shot out, like, you know what I mean? Like most of them are set up. There's setups that go into it that sets up for the knockout. And people are like, what? And then I had to pull up a bunch of fights, like a ton of fights. I'm like, look at this fight. What do you think? He just landed that luckily? No. Yeah. He set it up with that, this, that, and the other to get that.
Well, I think
Like,
it's a video game. It's just you hit a big shot and it's random. Like the easiest way to show people, I think, is when you show like the guys that spam kind of the liver kicks, and then the arm comes down, boom, liver kick becomes a head kick. That's the easiest example of look at how he set that up. Like he had his
right.
opponent thinking about something and he got caught clean and had no idea.
Yeah. I just like, I always have to explain that. Like, I had to explain that to them, break it down to them because they had no clue. They're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, they're not easy. They're not
Yeah,
easy.
they think fighters don't feel like going out there and getting the knockout. Like you want it
Like,
to go
no.
3 rounds, 5 rounds. Like, bro, if you can
Yeah.
get the knockout in the bonus, you're gonna go for it, but it's not
Right.
always there.
It's not, no. I'm like, guys are too fast, too damn good
Yeah.
to get slapped left or right. It's like, it's a setup. They got set up. Usually it takes a while.
Well, that's the thing is you always hear like the people under or overestimate their fighting ability by 1,000. I think that's the expression where every regular guy thinks like push comes to shove, I'm gonna put my hands up and I'm gonna knock a motherfucker out. And it's like you got these fighters that actually train for it. And they're like, no, you're not. I was talking to Rofion Stotts, who was like, I don't know why we were talking about this. He's like, if I fought a regular man, he'd be like, it was like if I was fighting a child. He was like, it's not even fair. It'd be like I was fighting a child. You'd look helpless against me. I was like, wow.
Dude, I literally would be like, this fucking hair from this thing's getting my mouth. But I literally, like, when I used to bounce, I would say before COVID, like probably like this time around, like before COVID, last year, I was like bouncing, making extra cash. And man, you see these dudes like, yo, what's up, man? What up? What's good? What's good? Like taking their shirts off, ready to fight.
Yeah.
Man, such a stupid ass down. I just toss them. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they like have like no like any sort of like resistance to them at all. Like you just grab them, you're like, are you fucking serious? My 5-year-old son is stronger than this. He just fucking tosses it at the ground. It's like then like I remember one time I broke up a fight. I'm like, yo, like chill, whatever. And these two like little ass dudes. I'm like, I just separate them. I'm like, yo, just chill the fuck out. This dude came over and hit me. Right? He hit me, and I was like, and like I instantly got mad, and I got control. So like I went to hit him back, and I was gonna hit him in the chin, but I was like, you know what? If I hit this dude, I'm gonna knock him out, and it's gonna be. I thought of all of this so quick, and I just directed my punch down and hit him like right in the chest, and he just fell to the floor. And everybody was like, "Oh!" I was like, "Chill the fuck out! Stop fucking around, man." I like, if y'all want to get in the club, stand in line, stop being dickheads. And they was, yeah. And they just like sat. And then like my boss was like, "Yo, you got to be easy. Like you can't." I was ready to knock this stupid ass out.
But you're gigantic too. Like what, 6'3" or something? Like even if you weren't a fighter, you hesitate a little bit before punching a gigantic guy like that.
He just was swinging. He was just like wailing, and he just like boom, and he tried to hit the dude, and I like just stiffed on them both because they were like 5'7" on a good day. Like, you know what I mean? They were like little ass dudes. So I'm like, yo, chill. And his hand just came over, just cracked me. I was like, this motherfucker. And I just boom, hit him in the chest. He was like,
oh yeah.
Like, sit the fuck down. Stop playing. Like, you know what I mean? I just
sit the fuck
21-year-old kids. Like,
yeah. He felt that he wasn't getting back up. I'd say, get up.
Yeah. I even made them get back in line. I'm like, cut the shit, get in line. If you want to get in the club, get in line. If you don't, take your ass home. They got in line, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Let me see your ID, asshole. And they got it, and it was good. They were good for the rest of the night.
See, people talk about, he was talking about treating people like children. You literally treated them like children. You say, get back in line, and don't even look at each other,
I had to. I literally had like 4 people down, and then had the other one at the end of the line. I'm like, sit your ass down. You want to be hitting motherfuckers? Sit over there, asshole.
Right. Oh, man. I mean, but I don't think people realize how terrifying that is. Like the thought of a guy who knows how to throw a punch professionally, potentially hitting you. It's like, hell no. I would be like, my bad, Mike. Here's my shirt. Here's my hat. Like, you have a great day. Like, no, there's no way.
Like I could have fucking just slapped that kid, but I'm like, if I would have hit him, it would turn to this whole big hoopla. And I'm like, you know what? Just go in the back of the line, dickhead.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Oh man, listen, Mike. It's been over an hour here. You've been super generous with your time, man. I appreciate it.
Man. No problem.
At the end of these things, I always let people plug their stuff, and you got a bunch of stuff to plug. You have a fight as well, so listen, man. The floor is yours. Everything you need to plug. Now's the time.
All right. First things first. I'm fighting February 6th. Fighting Danilo Marques in Vegas until I hear otherwise. February 6th. Don't forget it. It was a Super Bowl weekend, right? Yeah, Super Bowl weekend. That's the Overeem in Volkanov card, which is gonna be a nasty fight. Then also I want to say follow me on all my social media platforms and on Twitch at Emrod MMA. Twitch.tv/Emrod MMA. And shout out to my sponsors, Kill Cliff, always holding it down. Love those guys over there. They're awesome. Definitely copy energy drinks. And if you want to save 20%, use Emrod20. Save yourself 20% off all your purchases. And they got sick graphic tees. Their graphic tees are hot and comfy as fuck. Another one, I want to say huge shout out to oh no, I still got more sponsors. Diamond Cup is the best cup on the market. Highly recommend it. Don't go with Dr. Shock. He don't know what the fuck he's doing. Diamond Cup. It's awesome. Everybody and their mother has a Diamond Cup. I'm pretty sure most of the guys you interview have Diamond Cups. If not all of them. Seriously, it's the best cup on the field. On the market. Then I want to give a shout out to Modest Needs. Modest Needs Foundation. I'm an ambassador for them. Modest Needs is an organization that helps low-income families and individuals to get through their day-to-day struggles. They've been helping millions upon millions of people during this whole COVID pandemic, including themselves, because they, for once, need our help. So whatever you can do, if you ever just drop by there and just donate a little something if you can. Really appreciate it. And Collector's Cup. If you're looking for cool blender cups, cool blender cups, cool energy drink mixes, things of that nature, check out my guys at Collector's Cup. They have a lot of cool shit over there. They're always conjuring up new stuff. Always got a bunch of new stuff going on, from Rainbow Six Siege to Division 2, Dragon Ball Z, whatever. They have all sorts of stuff there. Check it out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to give a shout out to the Rainbow Six community. I love those guys. That's my family, my extended family. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. All right, there we go. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks so much for the time, Mike. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.